Good morning. A lot of us are starting off in the 50s this morning with a ton of fog, and that's been an issue for the past couple mornings, but it looks like by tomorrow we're not going to see too much of that anymore. I do want to point out a few things right now. We are seeing tons of rain in northern Georgia. Even a couple thunderstorms are moving through. A lot of that rain is going to stick up there. We're not expecting a whole lot here today, but a few different factors could bring us some smaller rain chances as we get into this afternoon, and I'll touch more on that in just a second. But I want to point out something on this model for you real quick. Look at this. By 1 o'clock, our temperatures could be as high as 78, maybe even 80 by the end of the afternoon, but this number is going to be just a tad bit deceiving. So what we have going on right now is something called the wedge, and that's going to be a combination of a few different things. Now for Georgia, the wedge is when you combine cold air damming towards the north because of the Appalachian Mountains and that high pressure center that forces a lot of that cold air down towards the south. And we also do have a frontal system that kind of stops all that cold air from moving. So we're still looking at all this warm air from the south, also humid air moving up as well. So if this front is forced down towards the south just slightly, that could bring a lot more chillier air into middle Georgia. But the way it stands right now, it looks like the wedge is going to be in northern Georgia for the day, so that could help our temperatures reach the lower 80s potentially across some of the mid-state. Now again, if this shifts down just a little bit, we're going to see our highs in the lower 70s. So even though that model before showed us 80 degrees, that's going to be a stretch for a lot of us, especially those of you that live north of Macon for later on today. So overall, the big thing I want you guys to know about this is that high temperatures all over the mid-state could range in between 68 and 80 degrees. If you see more cloud cover, you are much more likely to be affected by that wedge up towards the north. So expect windy conditions along with a little bit of light rain that could be moving on in. You're also going to be looking at some clear conditions further down towards the south of that line. That would indicate that you're south of the wedge and you are going to be seeing a lot more humid and warm air moving into your area. So overall, today's rain chances are going to be driven by that low pressure center just over in Alabama, along with that stationary front. Some small thunderstorms could also begin to pop on up in those areas that are seeing a little bit more humidity today, but it does not look like anything could be severe.